Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 14. Can you believe we're at 14, Mitch? He's Mitch. I'm Alex. This is the Mitch and Alex Show. We are sponsored by Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance, and we're in for probably a less
Don't tell the people it's less.
than last week, but
No, now they'll be like,
Nonetheless.
tune out.
nonetheless, still a great show planned. Oh, look at this. The Rusty Slug's in there. He says, shut up, box. Shout out to the Rusty Slug. That is senior referee Nigel.
He got his shout out last week, Box. Give him another one though.
Yeah, senior referee Nigel.
The greatest referee in the sport.
in Australia.
No,
He's
I'll put him against anyone in WWE.
Wow. Probably currently, yeah, but overall.
Earl Hebner gives me the shit, so the Slug is better than Earl Hebner.
Wow. What about Brian? Oh, come on. Charles Robinson?
Little Nature's hard to beat.
Yeah. He's second to Lil Nate. It goes Lil Nate and then the Slug.
But I like the Slug more as a person.
Yeah. Fair enough. He sends laughing emojis. Love your Slug. David Bullock says, afternoon, gents. See, I told you David Bullock would be in here.
Good afternoon, David.
How are you, David Bullock? Yeah, so we've got some more questions. Oh, they've flown through. I haven't even read those ones. They've flown through.
This old gag, hey, Box?
Yeah,
we get in trouble when we do the NGL.
Well, last week we did get in. Oh, did you get into a bit of trouble? I didn't cop any flack, but you're the one who.
I never cop flack to my face, but I hear about it through the grapevines.
Fair enough. The Rusty Slug says definitely not. Earl is king.
Nah, fuck Earl.
Uh,
He's named after a computer.
really?
Earl was the name of computers back in the day. I
The
believe.
Rusty Slug says.
Don't
"Thanks,
quote me
mate.
on that,
Love you."
though.
Yeah. Mr. Hardy Production says, how was wrestling go? We'll get into it, Mr. Hardy Production.
Yes, we've had a big week, Box.
We have.
Usually I got fuck all to talk about, but today, wow.
And you know what? It's been a big week coming off, I guess, a very quiet October for us. And we're now going into a busy end of year leading into
Not
a very
even-
busy next year.
Not even just a busy end of year. We got a busy next 6 months.
Yeah. Well, like everything leading up to probably a night to remember is going to be hectic.
Yeah.
If you guys jump onto www.allstarwrestlingaustralia.com and click on the upcoming events tab, you'll see just how busy next year is going to be for us.
I think there's 3 shows in March,
Yeah.
3 shows in February.
We did 3 shows in September and everyone was...
No, we did 4 in September.
Sorry, 4 in September. 2,
What
the
was it,
day
3?
after another. Yeah, no, it was 4. It was Newcastle, Narrandera,
Collecticon.
Padstow, Collecticon. It was hectic. It was a hectic schedule. I was ready to go to sleep for a month. The Rusty Slug says, am I booked?
I'm sure the Slug will be there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're losing Johnny Patini.
That's right. He's not dying.
He's not dying. No.
People have got their rest in peace post ready. He's not dying. He's going back to Italy, which will be a sad day.
Yeah, but
You've said you might shed a tear, Box.
I may, but he will be coming back eventually. I think he said that his goal is to... Well, he's going back there because he has his cats, and it's hard to bring his cats over here, and he misses his cats. So he's going to go and be with his cats for a bit, and then he's going to come back, and I think he said he wants to move over here. He said this is the best place he's ever been.
No doubt because of me and the hospitality of All Star.
Of course.
Yes.
Let's see. He said
We love the Bettini.
Nigel says R.I.P. Johnny. See?
No,
He's not
no.
dying.
He's just going back to Italy.
He's just going back to... I mean, same thing.
Wow.
No. We will miss Johnny Bettini.
No,
He
he's
will be
coming back. You've just confirmed it.
Don't quote me on it.
He can't make you out to be a liar.
Yeah. Don't do that. If Johnny Bettini, if you're watching, we love you. Come back.
Don't think Bettini watches the pod.
Probably not. I've got Mountain Dew today. It's not vanilla Coke. The fake Aussie Observer says hello.
Hello, fake Aussie Observer. Is
Mm.
it the fake one?
Yeah, it is. That
Is
one's
there a
profile.
fake one? What's
Yeah.
going on?
To be honest with you, I don't know. David Bullock says, "Oh, we will miss Johnny. We'll all miss Johnny."
Don't worry, there's a new referee coming. He's fresh from the school and he
Shits on Johnny Bettini. No, he doesn't.
Whoa.
No, he doesn't. I love Johnny.
You
Bettini.
said it, pal.
I didn't.
All right, Box, let's update the people on our week because they're waiting for that.
Okay, well, we had training last weekend, and
The new intake, Box.
The new
Let's
intake.
talk about them.
so we had training last weekend.
Let's not name them.
No, we had a few new trainees come in.
No, let's talk about them, Box.
Yeah.
The most notable, a former Australian heavyweight champion.
Correct.
has rocked up at All-Star HQ on Saturday.
This one makes me very happy.
I think he was a bit late to the tryout, but it doesn't matter because he's
The former Australian heavyweight champion.
yeah, he's pretty relevant in our world, and I believe he is joining the All-Star training, and I guess the fans can expect to see him, fingers crossed, quite soon in an All-Star ring. I guess that's the goal if he's coming to training.
Hopefully, all early next year.
Hopefully. So that's our most notable.
Yeah, look, me personally. I'm
Don't
excited.
reveal the
I'm
name,
not
Box.
revealing the name.
Don't reveal.
I'm not revealing the name.
Let the people get excited and let it build.
The two people here won't know who he is anyway.
It's TNT.
It is. No, but this person is one of my, I guess, my idols when it comes to Australian wrestling. So I'm very excited to.
Now Johnny Starr's already in the school.
So is Keegan Brettle. But no, this person, if I were to name the three people that I would want to have a match with in Australia,
don't name him, Box.
No, it'd be Johnny Starr, Keegan Brettle, and this third person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited.
Another active wrestler is joining this crop as well. We won't name who they are, but you will see them quite soon at the Penrith Collecticon, November 26th.
26.
So there'll be a little reveal there, and then 3 additional trainees, Box.
Correct. Yeah, so they had their first.
I wonder if they know about the pod or if they're just gonna walk in tonight and be like, "What are they doing?"
Yeah, probably not, to be honest with you. Or one of them does. One of them definitely does know about the pod, and I think I sent it to one of the other ones. But
all right.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's gonna be good having some fresh meat in the training school.
There's 5 new trainees. That makes a total of 11 now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Hopefully by the April intake, we'll have a whole footy team, and we'll get out there and shred on the rugby league field.
That's right.
Yeah.
Need 6 more.
Yeah, 6 more. Oh, it's all right. We could probably do 3 subs. I'll stick Keegan and Johnny Starr in there as well.
Yeah.
Mia off the bench if necessary.
Not in her current condition, Chief.
But yeah, no, it's good having some new guys in here and being able to, I guess, watch. It's so crazy that the shoes that they're standing in right now is where we were 6 months ago. And to see how far we've come, I'm excited for them to hopefully do the same and get the same opportunities that we've gotten and will be getting. So
it's exciting times ahead, Box. And they all trained on Sunday. I heard they're all doing quite well.
Yeah.
Taking to it like a duck to water. But what else happened on Sunday, Box?
Sunday,
tell the people.
We left All-Star HQ and we headed over to the Riverston Schofields Memorial Club.
I'm glad you remember the name.
For Wrestling Go, Not Another Halloween Show.
Was it another Halloween show?
It wasn't.
Not really, no.
I mean, kind of. There were a couple.
We'll talk about it.
Blue World Order comment. But no, it was a decent show. Like, we saw 2 of the All-Star trainees in the opener, which was pretty cool.
Dance and Dave and the Puppeteer, refereed by referee Jeremy. So it was
an all show refereed by referee.
Yeah, but in that opening contest, it was an all-star affair, and the Puppeteer picked up the win, the big win.
0-7 for Dance and Dave.
It's not a great start, but he's new to the wrestling industry. I feel like Dance and Dave will get there eventually.
Yeah, one day. He's got a hell of a drop kick on him.
He managed to nail that drop kick as well.
He did. The Puppeteer though, his experience got him over the line.
Puppeteer's already wrestled at Padstow before, so that's obviously a big help. Being mentored by Hell Yeah as well, so no surprise there.
And obviously with the friendship of Hell Yeah and Wes Williams, you'd assume that Wes would have given him some
pointers,
well.
Possibly.
Yeah, it was good to see Dance and Dave and the Puppeteer get on another show and show them what All Stars made of.
And Aries and Keegan Brettle battled it out as well on that show.
Aries with the win. I think Keegan was the favorite going into that, but Aries, the current Eastern States champion, he's been the champion for 170 odd days.
I think it's 200 plus.
Wow.
He's approaching Jack Dullahan. If he beats Tony Cruz and then goes on for a successful defense in December, I think he might top Dullahan.
Wow. Tony Cruz has a lot on the line November 18th.
Yes, he does.
Let's see. Let's go through these comments real quick. Aussie Observer says, I just saw your match, Fox, ? I don't know, Chief. I don't know what you're on about. Hope it's not Box, says the Rusty Slug. Who is it? David Bullock says, "Oh wow, that's an amazing get, gents."
It is. It is a good get.
Gutted we couldn't make it to Wrestling Go. Hope to make December show. Pedal to the Metal, I believe it's called.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, which is funny considering their championships are medals.
That's the play on words. It's pedal to the silver medal.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's funny.
You like that one,
I
Box?
do. No,
yeah.
to be honest with you, it just clicked. But, no, it's good.
Not as smart as he seems, Alex Box.
What else do we get up to over the weekend?
Well, that was about it for me, Box.
Yeah, we came home and we had a little chat.
Someone said to me at Wrestling Go, they're like, "I'm surprised you're here." I'm like, "Oh, why is that?" They're like, "You very rarely leave the All-Star ecosystem."
Yeah, I said you rarely leave this house. The Rusty Slug
But
says,
it's like I'm 20 minutes away. People are like, "What are you doing here?" You don't leave Padstow.
The Rusty Slug says, "Big brain Box." No, I wouldn't go that far. My head may look big, but
Box has a bird brain.
don't disrespect the Birdman like that.
Tweet.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Birdman's smarter than you.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Hey, that's why he's running APW. Should we get into the questions?
Let's get into the questions, Box. You did this concept last week. I hope that there is some fresh questions, or we're in trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
And let's hope we avoid the controversy. I'm not answering any controversial ones.
I'll answer it.
You can. You get the heat.
Someone says thoughts on hardcore / deathmatch style pro wrestling.
Have we touched on this before?
I think we have.
We'll touch on it again. Why not?
Yeah. Just straight out of the gate, I'm not a fan of it if it has no meaning behind it. I think those kinds of matches should happen if there's a big beef between whoever it is, however many people it is in the match. I think if there's no personal grudge held, if there's no reason to want to smash a light tube over someone's head, then is it necessary? Probably not.
You got to think of it like two wrestlers. If you pitched them a hardcore match, unless they really hated each other, why would they want to kill their opponent?
Yeah.
Or seriously injure them?
The goal is to
win the match.
Submit
yeah.
person, but it's not to.
So we've said this before. I think the only way you get a hardcore or death match at All Star is if there's two wrestlers that have had a long-term personal feud.
Yeah. Oh, this one's a good one. I haven't heard this one before. Worst / best cliches in pro wrestling.
It's a difficult question.
It is.
Well, give us some examples, Box.
To be honest with you,
what would be a pro wrestling cliche?
That's tough. I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it, Box.
Google it. I'm gonna fish through and see what we've got here.
That is a interesting question. It's always interesting when you've got to Google it.
Yeah. Mitch is genuinely Googling.
I am, yeah.
While you do that. David Bullock says, wordplay not your game there, Box. No, look, normally it is, but it kind of just clicked for me. Aussie Observer says, I saw your match against Aries and Caesar. Why you're the heel, Fox? I don't know what a heel is, nor is a fox, but I did wrestle Aries and Caesar in the Ranger, and I came up short both times.
I found some wrestling cliches, if we're ready for them. We'll go through. This is the top 9, according to thesportstar.com.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in at number 1, contract signings.
Yeah.
I don't mind a good contract signing.
I don't, but they always end up the same. And I think WWE's even played into that lately. Like everyone who's come out for a contract signing, they come out and at the start of the promo, they go, oh, we all know how this is going to end. Someone's going to end up going through this table, and it does.
Yeah. I mean, does the Lee Morrow contract signing count?
Did he sign the contract before he came out to the ring? Like there was no table.
No, there was no table. He come out with a pen, signed it, and threw it on the mat. I thought that was nice.
It wasn't a very typical contract signing. I think if contract signings were different and they weren't exactly the same, like copy and paste every time, they'd be a lot better.
I guess this one means, though, like contract signing between two people before a match.
Millennial Man's in the chat. He says, my favorite wrestling cliche is the Invasion Big Stable.
Yeah, I hate that. We discussed that last week.
Yeah.
Bumps that knock out referees.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of that one. Oh, I don't know, because you think about it, right? Referees aren't trained wrestlers. So the moves that wrestlers take I guess their bodies can handle more because they're trained. Whereas
You tell that to referee Jeremy. He's done all the same training as you guys, pretty much.
That's true. That's true. But you look
He's a super ref.
like you look at Nigel, for example, right? Like he got hit with, I think it was a running clothesline in the corner during the heavyweight title match or something like that.
Yeah, he's not taking that well.
Yeah.
No.
And he was out for a while, whereas you see a lot of guys get up from that. So
Number 7, a big man enters a battle royale.
oh, and they do that spot every single time where all the guys get on them and
What's a spot box? Explain.
It's a thing that reoccurs. I don't know. So they do a thing, right, where everyone jumps on the one big guy, and there's like 10 of them on there, and he's down to one knee, he's down to two knees. I think one of the most famous ones is the 2005 Royal Rumble, where you can hear Big Show go first Cena, then RVD, and then someone else, and he throws them all. He explodes, and they all go flying, and then he launches them out of the ring.
I have one because we were asked which one we hate the most, and I haven't got to one yet, and I haven't taken it from this side, as you can see.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah.
That concept is done by everyone. WWE does a really good job with it, but like Impact has done it. AEW does it. It's everywhere now.
AEW kind of just copy and pasted from WWE. But
I guess isn't that a surprise?
Well, I guess the difference between them is they can't cash in at any time. It's more of a you've got to give notice for your match. But I like Impact or TNA with their Feast or Fight. I think it adds an interesting touch to the concept.
All right, Boxer, we're going to do 9, but it's asking me to view an ad. So the last one is Evil Foreigners.
Yeah, no, you see that a lot.
Oh, wait, no, we got others here.
You got it. Yeah, I know, like, especially back in the golden era where Hogan was the big American star. I am a real... And he had the feuds with...
Nice singing, Box.
Thanks. He had the feuds with Iron Sheik and, what was it, Nikolai Volkov or whoever.
Number 5, cameras don't exist unless they need to.
Oh, yeah, that one's
Number 4, poor distractions. Number 3, everything is under the ring. That one isn't too unrealistic, really. Like, we toss all of our stuff under the ring. Number 2, everyone is down.
What do you mean?
It says there is definitely a case to be made for fans showing their respect to two performers while they take a quick breather after a sequence that took everything out of them. That's something that isn't always earned.
Oh, like when you know, like both guys go for the double clothesline or whatever, and they're on the ground, and the crowd's like fight forever.
And the last one is the Spanish announce table.
I like that one.
There we go. Mine is the Money in the Bank. Surprisingly, not on that list.
Yeah.
But the cash in, I could go without ever seeing a cash in angle again.
Fair enough. Let's see. Aussie Observer says playing music to save someone.
Yeah, it's a good one too.
That's true. Yeah. Why does someone need their music played when they run out to save someone?
Oh, well, they're making their way through. They go, play my music. They want to get pumped up before the fight.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, next question, Box. We got a lot of questions.
What would Mitch and Alex say makes All-Star stand out in Australian wrestling? You can take this one first.
Me?
Yeah, well,
it's going to make me look egotistical if I go first.
You are Mr. All-Star.
Mr. Star.
Mr. Star, mate.
I think our stories, really. I think that's what we do better than anyone.
No, that is egotistic. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, like... You look around and most promotions, and it's not a knock on them, but most promotions are doing like, I call it like an exhibition style show. Like, hey, we've got 7 matches for tonight, and they're going to be really good matches. Come and see a great night of wrestling. For us, we do that as well, but a lot of the time there's a reason that the wrestlers are fighting.
I can tell you right now, like, even before I was coming to All-Star shows, I think, because like even the promotions that do tell stories, they only do it on their shows, whereas the All-Star social media team does such a good job of, I guess, keeping things updated that you could miss a show and still be updated with everything that went on and is going on.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, that's what helps with the storytelling.
There's so many stories even going into November 18th, like like Keegan and Morrow, they wanna be the best, and Orlando, of course, wants to keep hold of his belt.
Yeah.
You know, Aries and Tony Cruz. Tony Cruz, after his dodgy way of winning, Aries is going to try and, you know, give this guy his comeuppance, although Keegan kind of did already.
Yeah.
But not officially. Tony Cruz has been undefeated since like July.
Yeah.
What else do we have going into
I
next
think
show?
Jack Dullahan trying to continue his warpath and destroy
Yeah,
everyone in his sights.
but him and J Law, they don't have any previous beef.
No, they don't. But I think it's a tough challenge for Jack Dullahan because he hasn't faced anyone. Well, he hasn't none of his most recent opponents have been former Australian heavyweight champion.
Yeah. What else is on November card? Oh, the grudge tag team match. You got Hell Yeah, Wes Williams.
That's right. Yeah, it's just
They had their own issues. They're all good now, but they're joining up to take on the Belief, who they've had issues with for a few months now.
Yeah. Well, Mike Valuable and Hell Yeah had that. I guess little feud that was caused during I think was it Proving Grounds where Wes faced Mike Valuable.
Yeah, well, Wes almost had the belt stolen from him, thanks to Johnny Starr and Valuable.
And Hell Yeah came and
Hell Yeah made the save. Yeah. So now, there's a big reason behind their match, later on this month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mine's storytelling. What do you think, Box?
No, I agree. David Bullock says the All-Star stories keep us talking between the shows. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, You leave an All-Star show and you want to come back to the next one because you want to know what happens next. So that's a huge thing for me.
When I first started promoting, a lot of wrestlers would be like, "Oh, storylines don't work," but I think we've proven that they do, and I think we do it better than anyone else.
Yeah. Which former All-Star wrestler would Mitch and Alex like to see return? I think our answer would be the same for this one.
What's yours?
Kingston Eclipse.
I'd love to see Kingston, but I don't know how realistic it is.
Yeah.
Because he is legitimately from New Zealand.
Well, I mean, I guess what would define former All-Star wrestler? Because I'd love to see Chris Masters back also.
Yeah, well, Masters made, 6-7 matches?
Yeah.
He counts.
Yeah, I'd love to see Masters back.
What about Blake Stone?
Yeah, that'd be good. I've seen him wrestle a couple times for a different company, but
I think he'd be such a hit at Padstow. He's retired now, I think, but first All-Star champion, 6'4".
Two-time All-Star champion.
That's right, yeah. Main event of the first night to remember. Blake Stone, Kingston, and Masters. They're good choices.
Yeah. How did the Katie Forbes deal come about? Seemed to come out of nowhere.
Did it seem to come out of nowhere?
A little bit. I remember when you told me about it, I was shocked, and then you told me how it came about. I was like, that doesn't surprise me.
I don't know if I could tell the story, but it's something that came across the table at All-Star HQ.
That's what I mean. Like, you didn't really go looking for it, did you?
No, but we're happy to have her. Like, you check out her social medias. She's got 200 million plus hits on YouTube alone.
Let me see how many Instagram followers she has.
Well, it won't be higher than 200 million.
No, it won't.
But on Facebook and the like, she could very well maybe hit 500 million views with everything combined.
Yeah. And
So
she's got 15.6 thousand Instagram followers, which is a lot considering you look at guys like Masters and I don't think they've even got that many.
Yeah. So I'll tell the story at a later date if it ever comes up again, but it's something that come across the table and it was something cool for our audience. It wasn't, it wasn't a deal that was going to break the bank or anything like that. So we're like, yeah, we'd love to have her. And she's now involved November 18th. So there's 3 international wrestlers on the show.
That's nice. That's right. Because we also have Reese Alexios from
the UK.
Yep.
And Orlando, of course, the champion. Yeah. Not that he's an international anymore, but
who were Mitch and Alex's favorite international guests for 2023?
Speaking of international guests.
Yeah. I can't go past the Ultimate Dragon.
Well, what do you mean? What does the person mean? Do they mean in terms of who had the most?
Well, who was our favorite? Who did we?
Well, I really liked hanging around the Red Scorpion.
Yep.
And we got to hang out with him quite a bit because he did 5 shows for All-Star.
Kosei Fujita, of course, as well.
Yeah, who knows where he's gonna end up? He in 5 or 10 years he could be
the next Okada.
Yeah. And we're we had him at a little show in Newcastle.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. And Keegan Brett will beat him.
Yeah.
Who else came in? Orlando, if you count him, he's been a great guy to have around, giving advice to people and all that. he's just a bit of an asshole if you cross him and don't give him what he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is hard to go past the Ultimo Dragon. It's very rare that people get to see a legendary wrestler, and it was great to host, a true pioneer of professional
And,
wrestling.
For all we know, that could be the last time he's ever in our country.
Yeah, true. He is getting up there in age, and who knows?
Who do Mitch and Alex think will be the next big stars in Australian wrestling?
Ooh. Who do you think, Box? Has anyone jumped to mind?
Yeah, and he's just joined the chat. Aries.
Aries is in the house.
I can't go past our Eastern States champion, Aries. Very young. He's only, 20 years of age. And he's already accomplished so much in the time that he has been here. I think the sky's the limit for him.
You got to think of what he's done, even since just joining All Star, because I'm not that familiar with his career before All Star. But victories over Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles.
Teamed with
the Ultimo Dragon. He's teamed with Chris Masters.
He's defeated Keegan Brettle.
Defeated Keegan, yeah. He's defeated Keegan twice, I believe.
Yeah.
He's done all sorts. Like the feud with Jack Dullahan was amazing. The matches were amazing.
Former tag team champion and Eastern States champion. I think only 2 or 3 other people on the current roster have won.
2, yeah. And like, he's always eager to learn and keep learning, and that's usually the recipe for success.
He's also been on a tour to Mongolia. Aries says
he's also been on a tour to Forbes, Kudamanja, and Kobar.
The front of my boots are more worn out than the back. That means that
I know that reference. Yeah. Who else though, Box? That's a good question. Like
Aries, I guess you could look at
Jack Dullahan potentially.
Dullahan.
Hell yeah.
Wes. You look at like this past heavyweight title run, and while I guess it probably wasn't as long as he would have hoped it to be, and everyone else hoped it to be. I think you said it was his Randy Orton run. It was his Randy Orton in 2004 when he beat Chris Benoit for the title, and he had that run, but he's got a successful career ahead of him. Yes,
yeah, it certainly does. There's a lot of all-star guys, non-all-star people. There's Delta. Have you seen Delta?
I have, yeah.
She's very talented, has a good look.
One for me is Jimbo Jessie. I've seen her a few times, and I think she has the potential to be, a high caliber, like one of the top women in the country.
Yeah, but I think the person means like getting signed and all that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think Delta. Who else is running around? There's so many talented people in Australian wrestling.
You even look at Brooksy and Slex.
You'd expect them to go somewhere again.
I think it's tough because there's probably so many options, but you just can't.
What about Tony Cruz?
Tony Cruz, yeah, definitely.
Johnny Starr.
Johnny Starr. I think he's
WWE bound.
I think he's a little bit past that point, but I don't doubt that if he went over there, he wouldn't be he'd be successful. But are they looking for a?
It's an exciting time for Aussie wrestling. There's so many that I'm missing as well. So
guys like the Tuckman that are coming up now as well, and
yeah,
I
know the Tuckman.
Yeah, the Tuckman, and even Ricky South. Like Ricky South could get signed anywhere and be an instant hit. So
well, there you go. There's a few answers, and I'm sure we missed many more.
What makes a good promoter?
Wow. Well, Box, you tell me.
I don't know, Chief. I'm just here. I'm gonna you think of your answer. I've got some comments. Dance and Dave is a star, says the zoo, which we call home. I'm just gonna call you the zoo because that's a way too long name.
The zoo.
Aries, how was your match with Box? Says the Aussie Observer. He also says, hey yo, and he says Tuck. Aussie Observer, I'm about to ban you. Oh no, that's not Aussie Observer. The Mr. Drunk Monkey says, hey yo. I wonder if that's Drunk Monkey with Chainsaw, the MWC film.
Yes, it could be.
Yes.
What makes a good promoter, Box? For how long do we have?
I don't know. I'm going to try not to be a smart ass here and hold my tongue. But
what time is
it? It's 6:06. We've been live for half an hour.
All
right. Should we skip this one and leave it for later?
Yeah, let's remember to go back to it because I'll go into it, but it's going to be a long one.
Yeah. Who is an Aussie wrestler Mitch thought should have been a big star locally, but never became one for whatever reason? That's tough.
That is a tough question.
That's very specific.
Yeah. Well, Box, do you have an opinion? You've been following the scene for a little
Mr.
bit.
Drunk Monkey says it's my alternate account. You are correct. Yeah.
An alternate account.
It's weird. It's like you look at someone like B-Boy even, who's traveled the world wrestling. Like he's been overseas a few times.
Yeah.
And never got signed. You look at like who else?
You know, I'm gonna go with one guy.
Yeah.
When I first became like a fan of Australian wrestling, everyone was going nuts over this guy. I don't know if it was warranted at the time or not, because not a lot of stuff went online back then.
Yeah.
That's how old I am.
Wow. Count the dinosaurs.
But Blake Stone.
Yep.
In like 2007, 2008, hottest thing in Aussie wrestling.
You just reminded me of an answer. I've got an answer.
All right. Well, Blake Stone was like 6'4", jacked. So like he is now. He's still 6'4" and jacked.
Yeah.
But he was much younger back then. He was definitely someone that if he went overseas, or if the scene was as big as it is now,
yeah,
he would have been getting a look by WWE. He just unfortunately was a guy in the wrong era.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Blake Stone. Who's yours?
So I've had a couple conversations. I think it was a conversation with Ryan Eagles that I had. And I said
Ryan Eagles gave you the time of day.
He did.
Wow.
I had a conversation with him about this guy named Ahmed Iblis, who I've spoken about before on here, I think.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
And he was a huge name back in 2009, 2010, so the late 2000s. He was one of the top guys in Aussie wrestling overall. He was a PWA champion for 2.5 years.
Yeah, he had a great wrestling career.
And I had a conversation with Ryan Eagles, and I said, I think should he had the platform that Aussie wrestlers do now, he would have been signed. And I've spoken to guys who were around when he was, and they all said that everyone thought he was going to be signed. And I believe he suffered an injury outside of wrestling that derailed his career. And yeah, he stopped wrestling. I think his last match was, I think he did a one-off in like 2017, but before that, I think he stopped wrestling in the early 2010s. And it's sad because he was like, I've seen some of his stuff and he was incredible. So yeah, Ahmed Iblis would be my answer. I think he should have been, like, he was a huge name over here, but he could have, the sky was the limit for him.
Well, there you go. That's definitely a name I know quite a bit about.
Yeah.
So we're going with Ahmed Iblis and Blake Stone. Two good choices, I think.
What is the best part about regional shows?
Well, you've been on a couple, Box.
I have. Certainly not the car trip.
Bateman's Bay, Narandra. Is that all you've done? Have you done another one?
No. Do you count Newcastle?
Nah.
Then no.
Newcastle's a city, chief.
That's right. We had this discussion.
Wow.
Bateman's Bay and Narandra. Hopefully a few more next year as well.
Well, yeah.
Fingers crossed. That'd be nice. But yeah, Narandra was probably a bigger one. It was a 7-8 hour drive. Google Maps said 6. The bastard. I think it was such a small group that went down. So we got to, I guess, we all hung out together, and it was like,
it was just you, Aries, Dance and Dave, and Caesar.
Yeah.
And Caesar just happened to be down there.
Yeah. So there was us 4 wrestlers, and then there's, obviously you were down there and a couple of members of the crew, which was
referee.
It was good to have us down there, and because it was such a small group, we all just hung out together, and it, I guess, helped build the relationships. I think that's my favorite part. Like not the actual wrestling. Like I loved it, obviously, but just having such a small group, being able to hang out together and build that relationship was great. Like I got to room with Aries, and we went and roamed the streets for a couple hours, and then went and chilled in our rooms for a bit and got ready to wrestle the next day. But it was a good experience. Definitely.
For me, I like the agricultural shows. That's a good reason why. But apart from the benefit that it gives the All-Star bank account, like it's it's good to get down into a community where you don't know people, and you bring them together with wrestling.
Yeah, 100%.
And like they're excited, and you got kids that want to take photos with the guys. Maybe they've never seen a championship belt before. But that happened in Narrandera. Aries was defending the Eastern States title. So many people wanted photos.
Yeah. Bastard.
Agricultural shows, like they're fun, but also like less pressure as well, because like Padstow is usually quite high pressure.
Yeah.
But when you have the opportunity to go down to, say, a Bateman's Bay, it's a lot more chill. There's time to go get a meal.
Oh, that venue at Bateman's Bay is amazing.
Yeah. But like you have time to go get a meal, talk to people. It's bonding.
Yeah.
It's the bonding experiences and bringing communities together and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so good to see like the fans down at Bateman's Bay. I was speaking to a couple, and they were like, "Man, we can't wait to come. Like, we can't wait for you guys to come back." Like,
yeah, there's a lot of Bateman's Bay fans on the All Stars social medias that can't wait for us to come back.
Yeah, if any of you guys are watching,
we're in the area, by the way, next year.
Did Keegan and Star say you were match ready for my matches? Yeah, well, obviously I wouldn't wrestle if I wasn't. Thanks, Fake Aussie Observer. Would All Star work with another?
Can we ban the Fake Aussie Observer?
Yeah, I'll
give him a ban.
But before we do, just quickly, this one, I don't know. You can avoid the controversy here, but would All Star work with another promotion again, like they did with FWA?
Would we work with another promotion? Just leave it there, Chief.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
I don't need the heat.
Okay.
So while you ban the Fake Aussie Observer, would we work with another promotion? I think it'd be doubtful at this point. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it, and the previous times we've done it, there hasn't been a lot of success.
Yeah.
Like there was the cancelled show this year, and we all felt so shitty about that.
Yeah.
That was out of All Stars' hands, and then there was, the previous relationships that person listed, which we won't go into. They just weren't positive, so it'd be unlikely. Maybe overseas.
Yeah.
Like if there was a bunch of places overseas that wanted to work with us, then that'd be cool.
GCW came over and did it.
Yeah, like of course we'd be keen to do that, but I don't think we'd team with another local company again unless it was really, really
like a PWA,
a reputable one.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be PWA. Just a reputable one.
Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
And I got fooled a few times. So.
Yeah, I think, but like we've touched on like when Charlie Haas no showed, right? It was like, it made you worry about flying over other internationals or even interstate guys. It's kind of the same thing. You've collabed with a couple other promotions and it didn't work out.
It just wasn't for me.
So you'd be a bit skeptical.
100%.
Should we answer this one or leave that one?
You could comment on that if you want.
No,
I won't.
No. Who was? Oh, I like this one. Who was Mitch learned from most in his time in the business? Was it one of the previous two people listed?
No. What we tell the students here is to be a sponge and soak everything in and learn as much as you can. And someone told me that very early on, so I kind of learned a little bit from everyone.
Okay.
Like there's Hunter Hayes, who when I first started out, he was just starting out as a promoter. So I could take things that he was learning and like obviously I've used them because he's a good promoter. Mark Mercedes as well, great promoter. I tried to, he was never actively mentoring me or anything, but I would always try and watch him and get what I can. Also learn a lot from people's mistakes though. Like I do keep an eye on the New South Wales scene especially. And I like to find out what's working, what's not working, all that type of thing. So I'm learning from other people's mistakes and their successes.
I learned from Andrew Venables and Ringside Addiction.
I'm still a sponge to this day. I've been doing wrestling promoting now for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And still can learn from anyone, whether they're a student at the wrestling school or, a veteran with 20 years in the business.
Fair enough. Learn a lot from it, don't you, Mitch? No. Millennial Man says...
A lot of what not to do.
Yeah. Millennial Man says Mitch learned his booking from TEW 2005.
Are you familiar with that?
No.
So there's a great video game series called Grey Dog Software. Oh, well, they're a company called Grey Dog Software.
Yeah.
And they create these games called Total Extreme Wrestling. It's a booking game.
That's actually pretty cool.
So
like a GM mode, but
GM mode, but way more in depth. So think like Football Manager or something like that. It's a great game.
is it like Rugby League Live 4 career mode?
No,
No.
it's much more in depth. So like Millennial Man is right. I don't know how he knows that, but I did play a lot of TEW, and occasionally I still will load it up, but now I'm busy, running 20, 30 shows a year, so it's less exciting.
You're playing TEW in real life.
That's right.
I like this one. Why is All-Star training system different to others?
That's a question for you, Box.
Is it?
I can answer as well.
I mean, I can't answer that because I haven't been anywhere else.
It's true. That's a good point.
But I think like we've got what now 11 people here, and it's, I guess, I don't know if you consider. I don't know how many people other training schools get, but would you consider it a smaller group?
Well, you hear some schools that they might have like 2 to 5 people. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a large group, but I wouldn't say it's small. It's mid, lower mid, perhaps.
I think even like just before we got these new guys in as well, like it was obviously smaller. I think we had 6 people, 6 or 7.
It was 6, and now with 5 others, it's 11.
So when there was the 6 of us, it was so good because we had time to focus on, like, we all learned together, but then we could take time and work on things that we individually needed to work on as well. And I think, we have the Wednesday night theory classes with Johnny Starr as well, which I think, like, I enjoy them just as much as getting in the ring and wrestling. I think they're extremely beneficial, and I think
that's something different that we're offering as well.
So being able to, sit amongst a group and learn that aspect as well helps what we do in the ring. I don't know. I can't really comment because I haven't been anywhere else, but it's definitely a great experience.
I think from the training, perspective, you summed it up. But in terms of where we take the students afterwards, so I think we've mentioned this before as well. They're not put in high pressure situations before they're ready.
No.
We take the students now to, Narandra, which is where you made your debut, or we'll take them to a Penrith Collecticon. We're not putting them on Padstow until they're 100% Padstow ready.
Yeah. There's
nothing worse than a young wrestler first match. Oh shit! There's 250 people in the crowd, and
they shit the bed.
and they shit the bed. So, Ganson Dave, for example, he's had 7 matches now, as you pointed out before. He's 0-7.
Yeah,
but he hasn't had a match in Padstow yet, or on a bigger all-star show.
Yeah,
he's just done Narandra, Collecticon, a Wrestling Goes show, and he'll be on the Collecticon this month.
Yeah. Wow, it's November already.
That's right. It's November.
Let's start to party. I'm 18.
We got to start playing November Rain. Yeah. You got to learn to play that.
Relearn it. Yeah, I learned it.
Yeah, an all-star student can come through the school, and in a year they could have 20, 30 matches.
Yeah.
As opposed to, other schools, and not knocking anyone, you might get 4 matches.
Yeah.
5 matches if you're a student at the school.
This one's a good one. Why did All-Star stop shows in Wollongong?
That's very simple. We used to run at the Illawarra Leagues Club. It was a very supportive venue at the time. They put banners up for us in the Wollongong city, and the guy there, I don't remember his name, but he was a great guy.
Must have been Alex.
It's funny, Vox. You're a funny guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're bringing the laughs in this serious episode of the Mitch Alex Show.
I know you.
Not many laughs in this one.
I can see you going like mad tangents, and I throw a joke in there, and you're like,
yeah. So pretty much what happened, I think we stopped running there in 2019. We come up to do Sydney. Then we were going to run there again. Then COVID hit. And then between, COVID and life out of COVID, the club got bought up by another, club.
Yeah.
They bought up a bunch of them. They're called Collegians in Wollongong. And Collegians doesn't want wrestling. So,
it sucked.
so that's what happened. They decided they didn't want wrestling, and I think there's only one club now in Wollongong that does want wrestling, and that's the club that Rock and Roll run.
Right.
Don't remember their name, but
Fair enough.
that's the only one. That's why we stopped running Wollongong. Wollongong wasn't overly supportive either, though. Like Sydney has been much more supportive of All Star.
Yeah.
It's hard to be motivated to go down there when, you know, the support wasn't there for 2 years.
Before we get into the next question, just quickly, you mentioned COVID. Like,
You haven't got it, have you?
No. No. There was a period I was having a look recently. I was doing my research. And was it like a period of, I think it was between A Night to Remember and Summer Spectacular? You didn't run any shows.
Yeah.
How did
That was
like,
2021.
how did that impact you? Like, and were there any thoughts of, oh, maybe I should just stop running?
Well, it didn't impact me because no one else was running. Like, I just went to work.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was working in COVID hotels, so that was fun. It was a difficult time for most people, I think, if they're passionate about wrestling, because like you'd promote a show, like there was A Night to Remember 2021.
Yeah.
Then we had a show booked like a month later. And we're all pumped up for the show, had a card done, graphic, all that, paid for the graphics. Then it's like, oh, we're going into lockdown.
Enzo, like, yeah, keep the
like I couldn't go and say, oh, you know, give me my money back because he'd done the work.
Yeah, no, of course.
But like you're wasting money like that, and you can't book month to month because you don't know if there is going to be a next month. So that was difficult. And then in 2022, I guess there was a lot of anxiety until about 6 months in.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
oh, is it going to be?
Is it going to happen again?
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank God it hasn't. And things have gone back to normal relatively.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it was difficult and disheartening, and it was depressing from a business perspective.
Like, do you think? I guess was it different for you because you were like a relatively young promotion? Like you're only in 3 years, 3 or 4 years.
3
compared to promotions that have been around for like what decades even.
Well, it was hard because in 2021 we did like 180 people for our debut Padstow show, and then
the storm is coming.
That's right, and it certainly was.
Yeah.
And then A Night to Remember 2, we had like over 200 people in attendance. So we're like, oh, this is really working. This is great. People are seeing Padstow as a great wrestling venue. And then it's like, oh, you got to take 6 months off.
Yeah.
Then, like, thank God it didn't happen again. But in January 2020, we did our first Sydney show, and we tried to capitalize with a big show 3 months later. Never able to capitalize. Yeah. So, yeah, it sucked. But, I mean, people died and all that. So my problems are minuscule compared to those.
Fair enough. Last question on the NGL. I guess what? We've got 15 minutes left, so maybe we can go into the promoter thing as well. But
yes, yeah, we'll touch on that.
What is the difference between wrestling today and when Mitch started?
It makes it sound like so long ago.
Well, it was what, like 15 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was a wee little lad.
Yeah, how old were you in 08? 4?
2 turning 3.
Wow.
I was 3 in November of 08. That make you feel old?
It does.
Yeah.
What's the difference between wrestling today and back then?
I could probably even answer that. Like, you were around the scene, but just in general, like, I think the style of wrestling's changed. Oh, the content cat's here.
The hello content cat.
Cool podcats. I'm leaving that up there.
So, well, I guess from a business perspective, like, of course, the style has changed and all that, but from a business perspective, back then there was perspective. I was, running on that. That's a tough one indeed.
It's like Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. No,
Worcestershire.
I can't do that.
No.
We'll do a show one day on words we can't say.
Yeah.
Back when I started, there was 4 promotions. I think there was PWA, which had only just started. There was IWA, AWF, and there was a small one called UWF.
Jesus, at this point, I'm surprised there's not 4 in Padstow.
You could be the heat man.
Don't give him any ideas. Don't give him any ideas.
So like everyone kind of drew back then as well. Like if I recall correctly, PWA was always doing like 200. IWA would go everywhere and draw. AWF would draw really well. I've touched on that before, so I won't bother people with that. I got my start in the smallest promotion. It was UWF, and they do like 80 to 100 people.
Which I think, like back then, was that
That was bad.
Oh, that was bad.
So people were like, "Don't work there. They don't draw. They don't advertise. They're shit." And they were doing 80 to 100.
It's weird that like they call that shit now, whereas some promotions in New South Wales these days, like, they'll consider that a huge success.
Some people would be fist pumping over 100 people, but back then it was like, they're shit, don't go there.
Like you look at us when like I'll ask you how many tickets we're at, and if you say we're at 100 pre-sales, 2 or 3 weeks before the show, we're like, oh shit, like that's disappointing.
2 or 3 weeks out, that'd be good.
Really?
Yeah.
At 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like the week before then.
Yeah, we typically like to hit around 120, 130 on the week, and then you'll get a rush on the week.
Yeah. And then like tickets at the door.
Yeah. So you can like we do pretty good with the marketing though, but you're right. Some places are happy with 80 to 100 people now.
Some people are happy with 30.
Yeah. Well, some promotions back then drew that, but they weren't putting any effort in at all. So they weren't losing any money, I guess. But the other 3, they were really successful and doing really well. And I guess that's the major difference. Every wrestling promotion had a really good club back then too.
Yeah.
Or multiple.
Like I guess like when there's only 4 promotions in Sydney or New South Wales.
Yeah.
It gives you more freedom and more places to run, like you said. And like I think each promotion was doing something different. Like you said, IWA was doing regionals.
Yes,
AWF had their international.
We touched on this last week or the week before.
Yeah. So
AWF was bringing internationals. IWA would do all the regionals, kind of like we do now. And PWA was like that modern independent wrestling style.
Yeah.
And then UWF was just a family-friendly show. But
that's what I mean. Like that's 4 different styles of wrestling, whereas now you have however many promotions we've got here. I think we made a list and it was like 15 or something.
Yeah.
And half of them offer the same thing. And it's, why would you go and spend your money and open a promotion just to try and compete with someone else who's already doing what you're doing? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, that's the major difference back then. And guys didn't really cross over into other promotions back then either. Like, if you saw an AWF guy cross into IWA, for example, it was like, oh, has such and such left AWF and gone to IWA?
Yeah, right.
What's going on?
So there's no like partnerships?
No.
Yeah, right.
No, though, but there was no active wars or anything either. Like AWF and IWA didn't get along, but they weren't deliberately trying to fuck with each other.
Yeah.
Like now, I feel like there's a lot more people trying to fuck with one another, people talking shit about others, which I'm guilty of as well. You got to cop.
I mean, hey, if you check out, 70% of the Mitch Alex Show, you'll see that
I only talk the shit because I'm passionate, though.
Yeah. There should be more promotions, more content to consume, of course. The content.
No, I disagree entirely.
Yeah, but it's a content cat.
I wonder if the content cat knows that Ernest the Cat Miller is coming to Melbourne
to verse the Tiger. Is it Stevie Phillip or the other one?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cat versus cat match. I think the content cat is currently creaming. What did Matty John say? Better than Lego.
That's right. Let's get to that last question box. And
what makes a good promoter, Mitch? Sorry, I just dropped that on you.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Your name's got to be Mitch Kristen.
No. What makes a good promoter? I think these days a promoter needs to wear 2 hats. Need to be a good business person and a good booker. Sorry, that's all good. Yeah, they need to be good at that, or they need to put someone in charge who can adequately book a show. What you see a lot of the time now is, like you'll have a person who's not great at business and they'll put someone in charge who doesn't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
A good promoter should have 2 of those or have the ability to put someone else in charge. Also, the key thing is actually promoting. A lot of promoters out there don't actually promote.
Yeah.
No paid advertising or minimal paid advertising, and they just expect to coast through with I guess the hardcore wrestling fans that know about every show.
Like what's the saying? You gotta spend money to make money, right?
Yeah. And, in today's world, I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but with the internet, it's so easy to just target wrestling fans in the area, even Australian wrestling fans.
I mean, like, if you
got your social medias.
I was gonna say if you don't want to spill your secrets, but TW 2005.
Well, that was 2005. There was no. Yeah, no.
Sorry,
I'm feeling old now.
That's the year I was born.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The game was actually made in 2004, by the way. It's like FIFA. They put the next year in. Yeah. And then there's of course all the other stuff that comes in, like, can you run a show? If something goes wrong on a show, do you have the tools to fix it? Like for me, I can do pretty much everything involved in a wrestling show except wrestle.
Yeah.
I can referee.
Oh, you give a nice drop toe hold.
I can referee. I can run music. I can book. I can manage a show. I can manage multiple people. I can manage a staff. I can do everything involved in a wrestling show except the actual wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's why I run around Padstow and I'm on my feet for 12 hours. I can even set up the ring. I don't have to anymore, but I can.
Yeah, you can.
I can do that. I know how it goes.
Collect
Most
the
of it.
comment.
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Oh no, we've told it.
Have we?
Yeah.
But a lot of promoters, and I'll end it on this. A lot of promoters today don't have many of those skills, or they'll have like one or two.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of just, as I said last week, a lot of wrestlers just opening up a promotion.
Yeah, I think, like, what's the saying? A great player doesn't always make a great coach. And I think, like, and that's the thing. Like, it's not even that great wrestlers are going up and opening promotions. It's wrestlers that aren't getting booked and they want to get booked, so they go and open their own promotion because they can afford to.
Yeah, back to that last question as well. When I started, it seemed like it was a lot more expensive to run a show.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't every wrestler just saying, "Oh, I'm going to run a show."
Were ticket prices
Cheaper.
Mm. Like $5?
There was $5 tickets back then, but it was usually 15, 10. AWF used to be 25 and 15, and that was, you'd get an international most of the time, so that was pretty good.
That's crazy considering when the first All-Star show I came to was Chris Masters and Carlito, and it was $50 for a meet and greet with both of them, and I was like, Jesus, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great deal. I was like, sign me up.
It's called Inflation Box.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
Well, what time do we have, Box? Because someone has just turned up here at HQ.
We've got 3 minutes left.
All right.
So
we're doing well.
I'm going to wrap it up with the announcement of our giveaway. And our giveaway, winner probably isn't even watching. So I will send it to them and contact them via social media.
We're only doing an hour today, Box.
Yeah, we've got important.
We've got important things to tend to. Don't try and scam the people on their 30 minutes. Tell them why, Box.
You want me to tell them why?
No, don't tell them why. But we have important things to tend to.
Yeah.
Secret all-star business.
Yeah. No, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, Box. You were going to plug the sponsor.
Wow, I've only done that once today. I'm terrible at that. I'm so sorry, Bulldog Glass and probably me.
They're keeping you afloat as well.
Really
with your shitty rated podcast.
Even though I'm on StreamYard Lite at the moment. Does my money come through? Oh, it has.
Has mine?
Have you been paid?
There's a venue somewhere that owes me money right now.
Charlie Haas does too. Well,
Charlie, we're coming for you, Chief.
Yeah, we still want to do that episode where we call him.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll do the announcement on social media.
Actually. Do it now.
We are the Mitch Alex Show, sponsored by Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance. He's Mitch. I'm Alan. And we will see you.
I'm checking my bank.
Next Wednesday for episode 15 of the Mitch and Alex Show. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
Haven't been paid, Box.
And yeah, and we will see you next week. Have a
happy week.
Yeah, happy November 1st.
Happy November 1st. Pinch and punch.